Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Alex sent me notes that Steve, check out the story from New York regarding Harley Davidson. And this is a story from August of this year, so it just happened a short period of time ago. Big lawsuit here. New York Supreme Court jury awards $290 million in lawsuit against Harley Davidson. It's on the NewYorkDailyRecord.com. Bennett Loudon wrote this. Keep in mind that in New York, the highest court is not the Supreme Court. They do it backwards for some weird reason. Don't know why, but this is a trial court jury awarding $290 million against Harley. A state Supreme Court jury in Livingston County has awarded a total of about $290 million to the plaintiffs in the product lawsuit against the Harley Davidson Motorcycle Company. The award includes $120 million in punitive damages to one person and $120 million in damages of punitive damages to the estate of his deceased longtime partner. So one person got killed, the other person survived. The jury also awarded additional money for pain and suffering, loss of enjoyment of life, medical expense reimbursement, future medical reimbursement, and future pain and suffering. And money was also awarded to the person who passed away, their family. Now, the man who survived was seriously injured, but his longtime girlfriend was killed by a malfunctioning Harley Davidson three-wheeled motorcycle. Now, I understand that technically speaking, a Harley Davidson with three wheels is still considered a motorcycle, but I admit I'm not a big Harley rider. I've only ridden a motorcycle a few times. I've driven a couple, but I don't spend a lot of time on them. But the three-wheelers are something I never quite understood. But to each his own. Small-town justice was served on a big-time corporation, said their attorney. And the trial before the judge started with jury selection back in May, but was postponed until late July because a key expert had medical issues. In October of 2018, Harley Davidson was notified that software used on the trike activated unexpectedly and could cause the vehicle to veer off its intended course and crash. Now, I read this article and I poked around a little bit. I did not find out what the software issue was that could cause the vehicle to veer off its intended course, but it was a problem. In December of 2018, the man had bought the 2019 model for $36,000. In February of 2019, he was driving the motorcycle in Florida when it suddenly, inexplicably, and unexpectedly, and without warning, malfunctioned, according to the complaint. Suddenly, inexplicably, and unexpectedly. The brakes locked, causing the motorcycle to swerve into the opposite lane off the road and down an embankment. So I suppose if the brakes on one side, that would do it, or if the brakes locked unexpectedly but unevenly, that would do it. So the passenger on the bike, which was the man's girlfriend, was seriously injured and the motorcycle was damaged. So he took the motorcycle to be repaired and he got it back in May of 2019, and the repairs cost $25,000. So $25,000 on a $36,000 motorcycle. It's a lot of repairs. And as you can imagine, one of the defenses, I guarantee you, the defendants would raise at trials, they'd say, well, if it malfunctioned later, how do you know it wasn't due to bad repairs? You know? So in November of 2019, Harley Davidson recalled some 2019 and 2020 model motorcycles, including this man's, with a software problem. So on December 3rd, 2019, the man received a recall notice from Harley for his motorcycle. And on the 16th of that month, he filed a claim with Harley seeking a reimbursement for his medical bills related to the accident back in 2019. Harley Davidson customer service contacted him and asked him for information and documentation about the crash, but they denied the claim. Interestingly, though, on the same day as he contacted them about the accident, he took the motorcycle to the shop for the service recall because he got notified of that. The motorcycle was returned to him in December of 2019. In June of 2020, so 7 months, 6.5 months after the work was done, he was driving his motorcycle in Pennsylvania, again with the girlfriend as a passenger, when the motorcycle, inexplicably, unexpectedly, without warning, malfunctioned and failed, causing the vehicle to swerve into the opposite lane of travel and off the roadway where it struck an embankment. At that point, the driver, the man who owned the bike, was seriously injured and his girlfriend was killed. The lawsuit claims the motorcycle was defective and unreasonably dangerous because the product malfunctioned and catastrophically failed. So again, I don't know exactly what the software problem is for which this bike was recalled, but it sounds like it may have something to do with the brakes. And don't know how that works. Not going to get into that. What we're going to talk about is this guy's got a motorcycle, and he's driving it down in Florida, and it does something weird that appears to be a malfunction on the motorcycle. Causes a lot of damage, winds up taking $25,000 to repair, and there are physical injuries involved, very serious. But he gets the bike back, and he's using the bike, and it appears to be operating normally. Then the bike is recalled for something that sounds like it might be related to what happened the first time. So he calls him and says, hey, will you guys take care of my medical bills from that accident? But he also brings the bike in to have the recall work done. And they say, we're not going to pay you for your medical bills, but we'll do the recall for you because it's federally mandated. They do the recall, and then after the recall is done, apparently the same problem happens again. So the first time you go, okay, it happened because it hadn't been fixed. The second time, it's like, wait, it was supposedly fixed. Now, I got to admit, I'd have a hard time getting back on that bike, especially if it crashed because of a defect. Then, cost $25,000 to fix. Then they say, oh, we found the problem. We want to fix this thing under recall. I mean, a recall is a free repair, but you still got to wonder. And that's the thing. A lot of recalls in vehicles, they are safety related, but it's not the kind of thing that, oh, by the way, if this were to happen, it's going to kill you. Whereas on a motorcycle, this kind of a recall that says we're addressing a problem with something that could go haywire at high speeds, the ante has been upped, as they say. And so I personally would have a hard time with that. But the crazy part here is it does say that the man approached Harley and said, look, we've got medical bills. Will you take care of them? They said, no. And it looks like the medical bills that he was seeking reimbursement of were $53,000. And now it doesn't say this, and no one said this, but you know how it is when somebody comes up and says, hey, I offered to settle for this amount of money, and they said no. So I filed a lawsuit and I got this amount of money. It makes you wonder. But that's the kind of story where in the court of public opinion, people will hear that and go, he offered to settle for 53 grand, and now they owe him $290 million. Again, not necessarily related, because he might have still sued them and still gotten this money either way. I'm simply pointing that out because it struck me. It might not strike you the same way. I'm sorry. But Alex sent that to me. Thank you very much. We'll see what happens because I suspect that this award will get reduced on appeal. I suspect. We'll see. And I suspect also Harley very well could turn around and say, you know something? Let's ask for a new trial first. But I will point out to you that the story actually happened a couple months ago. It just crossed my radar now, but it actually happened in August of this past summer. So I suspect the appeal periods have already begun. So if there's an appeal to be filed, it probably has already been filed. Although they may ask for a JNOV first and blah, blah, blah. So don't worry about it. The point is, there you go. New York Supreme Court jury awards $290 million in a lawsuit against Harley Davidson. From the NewYorkDailyRecord.com, Bennett Loudon wrote that. Alex sent it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. To be or not to be, those are the parameters.